Is a monster born or is a monster made? It's a question that burrows deep because it focuses us to question the very nature of good, evil, and human choice. Imagine for a moment that the part of your brain that feels empathy, guilt, or fear is totally void. What if it just doesn't react like everybody else's? Now imagine a different person born with the perfect capacity for good, but their world is a nightmare of trauma, abuse, and neglect. A world that shatters their conscience before it ever has a chance to form. Which is it? Nature or nurture? We often use two words for these paths: psychopath and sociopath. But what do these labels truly mean? And is the science behind them really that simple? The answer is more terrifying than you think, and it's critical to understanding the most dangerous people hiding in our world. The tangled roots of antisocial behavior. In movies and TV, psychopath and sociopath are easy labels for the villain. But in the real world, the truth is far more complex. In fact, modern psychology doesn't use these terms as official diagnosis. The real term is antisocial personality disorder, or more commonly known as ASPD. It's a clinical way of describing a person who lives with a profound disregard for right and wrong and for the feelings of others. But one of the most oldest evergreen debate about nature versus nurture, aka born versus made debate, isn't quite right. The chilling truth is that ASPD is a messy, horrifying cocktail of both nature and nurture. Still, those old terms, psychopath and sociopath, are useful for understanding two very different patterns of darkness that fall under the umbrella of ASPD. First, let's explore the pattern we call psychopathy. This is the born side of the coin, but it's more about a genetic predisposition than a pre written destiny. What have we found when we look inside their brains? Brain scans of people with strong psychopathic traits reveal unsettling physical differences. There's reduced activity in the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, the very command centers for fear, guilt, and empathy. When they see someone in pain, the neural alarms that scream in our heads are stone cold silent in theirs. This doesn't mean they're born evil. It means they were born with a brain that may never learn how to feel. Now, about the pattern we call sociopathy. There isn't a story about a pre wired brain, but a brain that has been broken. This path is almost always scarred by severe childhood trauma, abuse, or profound neglect. Think of it like this: these brutal experiences act as a relentless assault on a developing personality, wounding the parts that build a moral compass. So, while the first profile may have a severely limited capacity for a conscience from the start, this one suggests a conscience that has been twisted and beaten down by their environment. They might feel a flicker of right or wrong, but that flicker is easily snuffed out by the storm of rage and self justification. After watching a movie, there was a debate whether the main protagonist in the movie was a psychopath or a sociopath. The Oxford Dictionary defines a psychopath as someone with a severe personality disorder, marked by traits that have severe disregard for others' feelings, have lack of remorse or accountability for their bad actions, and they enjoy being cruel or violent towards others and cause suffering. They enjoy watching their victims' pain and suffering. Many bullies, serial killers, narcissists on the higher spectrum are psychopaths. Psychopaths have genetic differences that prevent them from feeling empathy and may take pleasure in harming others. The amygdala portion of the brain is found to react differently than normal people. Some psychopaths have smell related issues. Their sense of smell decreases with the increased psychopathic traits. Few commonly seen traits that help recognize in children that they may be showing signs of psychopathic traits are: 1. They will be cruel with other children. 2. They enjoy harming animals. 3. They are bullies and they like to intimidate others. They like to scare others. 4. They lack empathy that we see in normal people. 5. They sadistically enjoy watching pain and sufferings of others. 6. They live to inflict pain on others, especially physically. 7. They normalize their bad behaviors and bad deeds and do not take any accountability, and neither do they feel remorse doing such actions. 8. They don't feel guilty. 9. Aggressive and antisocial behavior is commonly seen. They show indications of ASPD. 10. They lack consistent relationships in their lives, whether it be friends, and as adults, they will not be able to sustain a good, healthy relationship or friendships. 11. Lack of ability to establish emotional connections. 12. They establish superficial connections with an intention to use them for their selfish needs. 13. They typically have short attention spans, anxious or agitated at times. They love to convince people to do what they want. It drives them crazy if things don't go their way. This drives their dopamine levels higher. 14. They constantly seek excitement or they seem to get bored very quickly. 15. They can have addictions like video games or they spend hours and hours on internet. 16. They don't like to do mundane tasks. They think of themselves as a little bit better than others. Psychopaths can be charming, witty, and sometimes even radiate confidence that draws people in. They are performers in society and they try to portray a facade personality to fool society. It is all a performance for them. They are master predators wearing a human mask. They spend their lives studying emotions not to connect with people, but to understand how they can manipulate them. Empathy, love, guilt, these aren't feelings that psychopaths understand very well or feel. They are merely buttons to push to get what they want from their victims. Psychopaths' destructive acts are cold, strategic, and planned with terrifying precision. If they ruin lives, they will do it for a reason, for a selfish reason, and they won't lose a second of sleep for that. To psychopaths, lying is as natural as breathing. They are generally pathological liars. Most relationships are transactions designed purely to serve their own ego and their selfish needs. Everyone around them is a pawn for them in their larger scheme of selfish agendas. And because such individuals, they generally don't feel fear or anxiety like we do, they are dangerously, terrifyingly bold, and sometimes their behavior may come across as obnoxious, reckless, or abnormal. Psychopaths have twisted minds, they have bizarre thoughts and thinking. They generally have short attention spans. They enjoy making derogatory remarks about others, insulting others, belittling others, bullying others, and using guilt traps are things that they sometimes do for thrill. Normal people, they feel guilt, remorse, and concern when they lie. But to psychopaths, they feel it is normal. Lying is like a second skin to them. They don't feel any guilt, and neither do they care about the consequences. Lack of conscience is another trait of a psychopath. Crimes, psychopaths, they commit calculated and planned crimes with least risks to themselves. They meticulously plan and try to execute it accordingly. They go on hunting sprees with their calculated plans, and they have backup plans and eventualities. They don't have any remorse for their actions, and the feeling of guilt is foreign to them. Regarding their career, remember, not all psychopaths end up becoming criminals. There are many careers that they are attracted to, especially generally in law enforcement, army, CEOs, surgeons. These are some few professions where you will find many people have psychopathic tendencies. They like position of power, and those who are not able to achieve some success in their career, they generally will be found as people who don't like to work under subordination and will have unstable income and an unstable career and will have a very precarious financial condition. Intense therapy may help reduce the intensity of some of these traits, but it is a behavioral disorder and it doesn't go away. It is part of their personality. Now let's begin to talk about the sociopaths. According to Oxford Dictionary, the definition of sociopath is a person who behaves dangerously, aggressively towards other people. They are very emotionally volatile and unstable and have underlying anger issues. Sociopaths sometimes can be an outcome of a brain injury or could be bad experiences of their childhood. They might have gone through some unsafe, traumatic experiences or neglect during their childhood that could have introduced sociopathic tendencies in them. Sociopath is a antisocial personality disorder. They are crooked and generally will have criminal mindsets. They have very little to no conscience. Unlike psychopaths, sociopaths, they feel some empathy and guilt, but due to their impulsiveness, their erratic behavior, and emotional instability, they are unable to use it very well. Sociopath's life is the opposite of a psychopath's cold, calculated, controlling behaviors. Sociopaths are like walking storms. They cannot hold a job, they will have multiple broken relationships, and there are a series of explosive train wrecks, and they are constantly in trouble for impulsive acts of violence. Volatile, and they have anger issues and they have aggression outbursts. Sociopaths have raw volatility, prone to terrifying fits of rage over nothing. They are recklessly impulsive, making life altering decisions without a single thought for the consequences. They can be extremely manipulative but sloppy. Lies are clumsy and quickly unravel. But here's a crucial difference. Psychopaths may be able to form attachments, however warped and unstable. Sociopaths, they cannot hide their darkness the way psychopaths can. Their chaos is always on full display. Some of the traits that you will find in sociopaths are: 1. They are aggressive and they have anger related issues. 2. They are impulsive and are erratic in their behaviors. 3. They do enjoy troubling and harming children or animals, similar to psychopaths. And similar to psychopaths, they are bullies and intimidating others. Number 5, they are very volatile and they lack or have very little empathy. 6, they sadistically enjoy watching the pain and sufferings of others. 7, they normalize bad deeds and bad behavior. 8, they feel little to no guilt. 9, they show clear indications of antisocial behavioral personality. 10, they lack consistent relationships in their lives, whether it's friendships or career related relationships or love relationships. They are not able to sustain adult relationships. Number 11, lack of ability to establish emotional relationships. Number 12, they establish superficial connections with an intention to use them for their selfish agendas. Both psychopaths and sociopaths personality types, they could be sexually promiscuous and they begin sexual activity at a very young age, and some of them they have deviant sexual behaviors. Sociopaths are very erratic and impulsive in their nature. They are less cold-hearted than psychopaths. Generally, crimes committed by sociopaths are at a spur of a moment due to a sudden bout of anger or impulsive action, and they're generally not planned or premeditated like psychopaths. Generally, most sociopaths are abusers, but not all psychopaths are abusers. They have poor career choices and they're not able to sustain jobs, and they don't listen to others, and they don't like having a boss. They are prone to having underlying mental health conditions like anxiety and depression. The behavioral traits of sociopaths are not curable. They can go through some counseling that may help them with some behavioral issues, and some of their underlying other mental health issues, conditions like anxiety, depression, may be treated with medications. Medical professionals have conflicting opinions about medications for sociopaths. But generally, you will see that both psychopaths and sociopaths, they refuse to take treatment or to undergo therapy. So, how do these two archetypes scar the world? Their impact is as different as the darkness that drives them. The harm caused by a psychopath is more deliberate, systematic, cold, calculated, and devastatingly widespread. Without flinching, they will take decisions that can spoil and destroy multiple lives at the same time, and they don't care a hoot about it. The harm caused by a sociopath is more immediate, chaotic, and brutally personal. When sociopath's cruelty is a slow poison, a psychopath is a sudden fire. Sociopath's impulsivity means that destruction is spontaneous and raw. Sociopath is a person who gets into a violent road rage incident over a minor traffic light. They are the partner caught in a constant storm of drama, impulsive cheating, and desperate lies. Their trail of destruction is easier to see because it is a hurricane of chaos. Psychopaths might spend a decade building a fraudulent empire, while a sociopath's violence is a reaction, an explosion, not a cold, calculated strike. The chilling truth. So we return to the question that haunts us. Are monsters born or are they made? The chilling truth is that it's never one or the other. It's a terrifying cocktail and dance between the two. Antisocial personality disorder emerges from a combination of both genetic blueprints, the hardware that struggles to feel, and the environmental trauma, the software that corrupts the soul. This has profound implications for treatment, which is notoriously difficult. There's deep-seated lack of emotion and talent for manipulation means therapy can be useless. In fact, worse, sometimes studies have suggested that therapy can make them even more dangerous, because they learn more ways to manipulate and to, hide their personality disorders. It doesn't heal them, it gives them a master class in faking humanity, teaching them new ways to manipulate the very people trying to help them. They learn the words to the song of human connection, but they can never ever hear the music. Ultimately, these people walk amongst us. They can be our colleagues, our leaders, our people, our neighbors we believe we love. Understanding the difference between the cold, hidden predator and the impulsive, chaotic storm isn't about labeling people. It's about recognizing the different shapes that darkness can take so that we can better see the warning signs. Which archetype do you find more frightening? The psychopath or the sociopath? The monster who blends in perfectly, or the one whose chaos you can see from a mile away? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this journey into the dark side of human nature fascinating, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss what we uncover next. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.